In this video, we're gonna talk about the spec and tech of the newest Tesla, the Model Y, and of course redesign it into something a little bit more rugged and off-road-like. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's TheSketchMonkey here, and this video is all about the newest Tesla, the Tesla Model Y, and to me it's the least attractive Tesla so far, and that's including the Cybertruck. So what I want to do with this Model Y, to me it feels like it sits between a minivan, a sedan, and an SUV. Yes, it's called an MPV or a crossover or whatever weird name you want to throw at it will fit this car. But what I want to do is take it and push it more, a little bit, just push it a little bit more towards the SUV and the off-road side of the spectrum of types of cars. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. First of all, I want to show you what kind of changes we're going to do, and then of course we're going to go in and actually do these changes and compare the before and after. I want to show you a comparison between the Model Y and the previous Tesla models, and why the Model Y looks a little bit different in proportions compared to the other Tesla models. So this is of course the Model S, and it looks like a regular sedan. I think it's because they started with this in mass production and they wanted to keep the proportions as close to a normal sedan as possible. And you can't really tell that this is an EV unless you know it's a Tesla, of course. It looks like just another sedan and nothing weird about the proportions here. And then we move on to the Model X, which is the first SUV from Tesla, of course. And to me, this looks a little bit strange in the rear. It looks like it's rear heavy here. It took a while to get used to this shape. And it is, of course, higher than the Model S, but it doesn't feel that much higher as in the Model Y, because we have a longer wheelbase here, which allows for it to be stretched out in length at the same time it was stretched out in height. And then came the Model 3, which has a larger greenhouse compared to other cars, traditional combustion engine cars, and that's natural because it doesn't have an engine in the front or in the rear. The battery pack sits down here, so they can pretty much do whatever they want above this point right here. They could probably even stretch out the A-pillar to go all the way to this point and have a very short hood and create a massive interior space, but I think that would be too far off the norm for people to be comfortable buying it, but that's something we might see in the future. And now we come to the Model Y. So the thing with the Model Y here, and why I think it looks like almost like a bubble, or it looks too high, it looks very top heavy, even though it's definitely not, since the battery pack sits all the way in the base of the car. But the thing is, it's longer than the Model 3 in overall length, but the wheelbase is only 0.6 longer. So this space right here, it's pretty much the same as we have on the Model 3, but with larger overhangs front and back. And on top of that, the height is increased by 7.1 inches in addition to the 1.1 inch increase in ride height. So what this means is that it's basically a taller, higher riding Model 3, and that kind of plays a little bit with the proportions of the Model Y and makes it look almost like a cartoon car. Talking about the Tesla models, we can't forget about the crazy looking Cybertruck. I'm still not sure if this is what it's going to look like when it goes into production, although I really hope it does, but still, it's so far off what we're used to seeing from Tesla up until now. And who knows, maybe this is the direction Tesla is going with all of their models in the future. But there is one simple and quick way to redesign this Model Y and fix this issue, and I'm going to show you that right now. It takes about 5 seconds to do, and it has to do with the front and the hood of this car. So what I want to do here is just raise this front up, because it slopes too much, and we're not used to seeing that, because if you had a combustion engine under here, this slope would not work. So by raising the hood up and the whole front up a little bit like this, it's going to create a more normal looking car, and the proportions are going to make a lot more sense, because they're going to look like something that we're used to seeing. So here you can see the before and after, and I think it now looks like, even though the wheelbase is kind of short for this type of height of car, it looks more normal now. But this is not exactly what I wanted to do in this redesign, because this would include changing the proportions and the body of the car. So what I want to do is focus on styling and turn this Model Y into something that's more rugged and more inviting when you look at it to go off-roading with. And that's what we're going to do right now. All right, so here we are inside of course, Photoshop. So what exactly do I want to do with this? What's wrong with this Model Y here that requires a redesign? Well, first of all, it doesn't require a redesign. It's just my opinion and taste of things. I think it looks like a taller 3 Series. It doesn't look like an SUV. It's supposed to be marketed as a small SUV. So what I want to do is take it one step further towards the SUV space. And what does that mean visually? Well, first of all, we're gonna have to raise the ride height of this car and increase this distance right here. Maybe offset the wheels a little bit more from the body of the car to make it look more rugged. The key focus we're gonna have on this redesign is going to be right here in the front. This looks like almost like identical to a Model 3. So I want to separate it more and bring it into an off-road category visually. So what I want to do here is to remove this duck nose that is typical for Tesla. I really like it. I think it's a great feature. Some people don't like it because it doesn't have a grill and it looks weird without an opening in the front. But I think that's great that Tesla did that. They had the fake grill on the first Model S's, which looked okay, but then when they upgraded or facelifted the Model S and just made it into this front right that we have right here, I think it looks a lot cleaner. But we're going to change that. We're going to remove that and take a step towards the Tesla Cybertruck styling. Nowhere near as extreme as the Cybertruck, but I want to integrate a light bar that goes in between the two headlights, because it's going to emphasize the width of the car, and it's kind of a trend within the EV community. The manufacturers create a bunch of light bars, especially in the front, even though every other manufacturer does it in the rear now. EVs typically have it in the front as well, and I think it would suit this car if we have a light bar right here, and if we have this line be straight instead of this ducktail here. And also, I want to have some sort of plastic going up here. Maybe not plastic, but some different design element that stretches up a bit further on the front face to give it that more of an off-road vibe, and it just gives it a lot more confidence in the front. It makes you feel like you're not gonna have to worry about breaking stuff if you decide to go off-road with this Model Y here. So those are the key changes we're going to make to this car. So now let's get to work and let's see how this is going to turn out. Let's talk about some of the spec and tech of the Model Y. What's the price? The Model Y starts at $52,990, and that would be for the long-range model here in the US. You also have the performance version, which completes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds as opposed to 4.5 seconds in the long range, and the performance starts at $61,000. And there is also a cheaper entry-level standard version with a claimed 230-mile range that will be available in early 2021. And this will come in at around $41,000. The range for both the long range and the performance is about 315 miles. Additional upgrades to the Model Y includes 20-inch induction wheels, full self-driving, and the 7-seater upgrade, but this won't be available until 2021. Personally, I think I'd choose the long-range Tesla Model Y in midnight silver metallic. I think that's a classy look with the induction wheels. You kind of have to go with the 20-inch wheels for the Y because they look so good filling out the wheelhouses compared to the standard 19-inch wheels. So let's compare some of the size differences with the Model Y and the Model 3. The Model Y is 2.2 inches longer than the 3 and 2.8 inches wider in terms of body width. It's 7.1 inches taller than the Model 3, and it has an increase in ride height of 1.1 inch. But the wheelbase, as I said before, is pretty much the same with a small increase of 0.6 of an inch. Tesla claims a massive 66 cubic feet of luggage space for the Model Y, and that's more than 4 times offered in the Model 3. Now, it might be a funny looking car and it's not as good looking as the Model 3, but the cargo space is a huge plus for the Model Y. The Model Y is a hatchback, of course, which means a much larger opening for the trunk, which is also a big benefit over the Model 3's smaller trunk lid, because this makes it a lot easier to load, unload, and access the rear luggage area. So now let's talk about the redesign here of the Model Y and what's going on. I'm very happy with how this is turning out. I really think it needs a higher ride height, or at least the option to increase it pretty dramatically if needed. And the light bar in the front, it suits the design overall. And now the front light graphics look like two letters Y that's melted together in the middle. And the black nose continues underneath the front end and protects the hardware from damage while you go do some serious off-roading. It's a fun design for a funky car. What are your thoughts on the Model Y? Are you a fan of the design? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end of this video. It really means a lot to me, and since you did, I assume you enjoyed the video, so you might as well hit the like button, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I'm TheSketchMonkey, thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.